grace and peace to be with this sensation for a moment. Now, staying connected to this sensation, I invite you to open your eyes and grab a pen. Can everybody see my screen? Yeah? Can everybody read my screen? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do a writing exercise. So, whatever this experience was for you, whether it was with somebody else, with a woman, with a man, with a parent, with a teacher, or with yourself, go ahead and we're going to write. We're going to do a writing exercise. So, follow my prompts. I'm going to guide you through it. And there's a reference for here if you get lost. But we're going to spend about a minute and a half on each prompt. So go ahead and write, "Dear blank," to the person you're writing this letter to, the person who had this experience with. I am hurt that. Go ahead and just pour whatever is real for you. Allow this to be a cathartic experience. You don't have to overthink it, just write. I am hurt that. I am angry that. I have felt shame that. And allow all feelings that are arising right now to come up because we're going to release them. So allow yourself to pour into this page. And this might be something you've thought you've already taken care of. Maybe you've never addressed it. This is an opportunity to really release. I felt shame that. I recognize that you blank. So this is an opportunity to think about this person in a compassionate way. Maybe they were hurt or not, or as a child. Maybe they had wounds of their own that they didn't know and they passed on to you. So it's in a time to acknowledge this person. I recognize that you, maybe you recognize that they're good. And now I am grateful that. I choose to forgive you for. So, whatever there is in you that you can forgive in this person or to yourself, you can choose to do so now. And if a lot of forgiveness is impossible, that is okay too. But forgiveness helps us release. So, whatever you can forgive, do so if you can. I now release. What are you choosing to release? The pain, the suffering, the anger, the remembrance, the shame, the fear, the doubt, the self judgment. What can you let go of? Now, this is a time to really release. So go ahead and write everything you can let go of and you choose to let go of. All right. So, giving it a few more minutes to finish up. And if you finish, go ahead and close your eyes with me. Let's go ahead and be with this sensation for a little while. This is a strong exercise. Let's go ahead. And if everybody's finished, we can join with our eyes closed. You can go ahead and wherever you feel sensation in your body, you can go ahead and place your hands on your body very tenderly and compassionately. Go ahead and just breathe for a moment. Breathe this exercise in. Breathe this energy that you've been carrying in your psyche. Breathe it in and let it go. Exhale it out. This remembrance, this memory can be stored in the body. And unless we're very intentional, we hold on to it. So, this is a time right now to be very sweet, very kind, and very gentle with yourself. So, go ahead and take a few deep breaths. And with love and tenderness, offer yourself forgiveness for having this hard situation that you've had. And offer yourself tenderness for the journey of being a woman and the challenges that come with that in this day and age. And offer yourself forgiveness for having even had this experience, a difficult experience, or having felt shame or about yourself. And then let's make connection with your womb space. So, a few inches below your navel, we'll focus on the sexual center here, the sacral center. And I can feel all of us releasing. I can feel it happening right now. And with our sacral center, let's make contact with where we meet the earth, whether it be with our feet or whether it be on the floor. Let's root ourselves into the earth right now with our hand on our womb space. And if we don't have a womb there, it's okay. It's still our sexual creative energy center. Go ahead and place your hand there. Begin to breathe. Begin to feel the deep oceanic waters of Scorpio wash over you, cleansing you of this experience. So imagining beautiful, cool, crystalline, salty blue water wash over you, wash on top of you and in you, helping you release now that which you've been holding. Inhaling and exhaling. Letting go. Feeling all the residue of this experience leave your cells, leave your body. Being washed with the water through your root and down to the earth. You may even want to take your hands and brush yourself from your heart to your womb space, kind of clean yourself off. Cleaning yourself off of this experience, letting it go, allowing what you've identified with to fall away. So, whatever stories that were created because of this experience, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I'm bad, I'm not good enough. Whatever experience you experienced, whatever thoughts, go ahead and just release them. Go ahead and totally release. Releasing doesn't have to be a pretty experience. It's death. It can be ugly. It can be blah. And go ahead and just let go. Letting go and letting the water take it away. Letting the water, the beautiful water, the life giver of water, purify and clean our vessels. Let's take one inhale all together. And one big audible exhale. Releasing. Let's do that one more time. Inhaling all together. And now we breathe in fresh, clean, clear energy. We breathe in the color of the shallow waters, the turquoise water with sun gleaming. We breathe in this energy, this cooling, light energy. And we let it filter through our bodies, relaxing us, opening us. And we give ourselves a lot of gratitude for having done this exercise right now. Giving ourselves gratitude for this work. This is good work. And with that, we can open our eyes. And I'd love to bring on, if anybody feels comfortable sharing about that experience, we can have room for a few people to share before we move on to the reclaiming our erotic innocence and manifestation. So the beautiful part, the joyous part, the rebirth. So does anybody feel they would like to share? It would help them release more to share here in the sacred circle. You can go ahead and either raise your hand, or you can click participants and raise your hand that way as well. So anybody here want to share? I think I saw someone. Yay, Jessica. Jessica, you can unmute yourself if you want. Hey, Jessica.
Hi. I figured I'd be bring get this off my chest and start the flow of energy. I actually was surprised at how painful that was and how many tears came up. I don't know what I expected tonight. Just feeling happy and connected to women. I've been trying to connect women my whole life, I realized, and the past 2 years I've been trying to get women's circles together, and it's just not coming together. What came up for me was not sexual so much as jealousy that I've experienced from other women. Kind of like pretty girl prejudice. And I hate even saying it because it sounds really vain, but I realized I was carrying that in my root, and my root chakra was just throbbing. And I've never had a girlfriend. Like, I've never had a really close girlfriend my entire life, and I just long for intimacy and connection, and I don't know how to call that into my life. That was unexpected, but very, very good to recognize.
And it doesn't sound vain. It's something that's very real for a lot of women. A lot of women experience that. So thank you for voicing that and having the courage to be authentic in the circle. And I fully intend that in this next exercise, you can manifest your sisterhood. And you have us here now, so thank you.
Yeah, I want that. I'm not quitting.
Yeah, don't quit. And I'm sure there's many girls here who will be your sisters.
Hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful share. You can go ahead and mute yourself, and we'll invite another beautiful, brave, courageous woman to share her truth here too. The more we share, the more beautiful the call is. So go ahead and raise your hand if you can.
I raised the hand and I got unmuted. Is it me?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, sure. Hi.
Yay! Hello, beauties.
Hi.
Okay. So this is Cristina. I'm Italian and I'm connecting from Australia. And thank you so much for this amazing exercise, because while I was writing down, I felt so much space opening up within, and especially on the I would say the solar plexus, and I link that to the fact that I was my own victim in my head, because I was taking full responsibility of an event, and how I didn't enforce my boundaries without having compassion of not of the fact that I froze in that moment, and so I was completely releasing the other person from their own responsibility before recognizing that I had a part of responsibility in what happened. And yeah, I feel fully empowered. Thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you for that share. I have an experience similar where I for years felt like a victim from an experience and then had a revelation about my participation in it. And it was very deep and beautiful for me. Thank you. All right, we have time for another share. Who's the next beautiful, courageous, awesome sister who's going to come on in and share? I believe in you. I believe in you. Oh, Vicky. So unmute yourself, Vicky. Hi, Vicky.
Hi. I just thought that was really good. It was an experience with someone that I dated where they violated me, and I think since then I've really felt very untrusting. Like I really can't trust to bring anyone into my space and trust that they won't violate me, won't violate my boundaries. And I didn't, I've had some, other problems with boundaries, and I didn't really realize I didn't actually realize till tonight that was a big thing for me. Yeah, I felt like I was able to fully forgive him for that, and quite happy to leave it in the past. So yeah, I find that really good. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, and I really didn't realize that was where, I really didn't realize that was there actually. I didn't realize it was such a big deal for me.
I do. Yeah. Thank you. I think there's a lot of people who can relate to this share. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Who can relate to this share of having not had your boundaries violated and not knowing how to set appropriate boundaries in many different areas of your life and having to work on that? I think the very beautiful correlation that you drew here for us around sexuality and boundaries just in general. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. So if anybody wants to share anything around this, you can go ahead and write it in the chat box. And we are going to move on to our next phase. So I'm going to share my screen again and go to, okay. So I want us to, for a moment, think about Mother Nature and the beautiful, erotic innocence that is Mother Nature. So, for instance, this rose, it is very, very much resembles the female form, the vagina, the vulva, and rivers and mountains and trees, even like a trunk of a tree can look like a woman's body. So let's go ahead and just contemplate and maybe write in the chat box some ways in which we can see like the sexiness, the natural eroticism of Mother Nature and the purity of it. There's this thing about sexuality is that it in its essence is so pure, but because it's so powerful and because it's been taught to be wielded in such ways for domination, control, and ends up we all having like intergenerational wounding with sexuality. Sexuality can become dark. It can become twisted and dark, and when really it's the most pure creational energy there is. And even children and animals have it. I always talk about my dog, but my dog went through heat and she's this beautiful white wolf. And I remember when she was going through heat, she was just this like little creature, too little to be sexy, but just like this really like beautiful, beautiful, soulful creature. And I just remember being like, whoa, that is hot. You're a dog and you're a puppy, and that is like really hot. What are you doing? Like her tail, instead of going like this, would be like, and I remember being like, wow, and watching her and contemplating her and being like, how free and innocent that is. How liberated and free that is. She's safe to be her full, erotic, innocent self. And so I feel like so many of us have a little bit of fear around showing sensuality too much or being really open. Maybe in the bedroom we feel that, but just even with ourselves, it's very, very common for women to lock down their sexuality. And then there is also the opposite, where women go very excessive with their sexuality, right? And that's also an imbalance. So excessive or recessive, not very locked down. That's something that we want to not go to either end of that pole, right? So we want to find that center, that perfect feeling of life pulsating inside of us, this yummy honey like life, you know? And so let's go ahead and with this in mind, this beautiful intention in mind, I want us to think about what it is we want to manifest in life for this new moon. So on the new moon in general, it's a great time for planting seeds, for seeds of intention, what we want to manifest for this next cycle. So we plant a seed of intention on the new moon, and by the full moon, we watch it blossom and we harvest that intention. So we're going to do that on this new moon. We're going to create a new moon intention, and then we're going to do a little exercise to activate it with our energy, our sexual life force creational energy. So take a moment or two to write an intention. So an intention can be I intend, or I choose, or I am manifesting something in the affirmative. And it could be anything you want in your life. It could be love, it could be sisterhood, it could be money, it could be a career, it could be anything. What is it that you most want right now? Okay. Taking a moment to wrap this up, about 30 more seconds. And so for this next part, this part is going to be an interesting part. So I've never done this exercise virtually. So if you want, when we're sitting in circle in person, what we usually do is we have the women who are sitting in circle turn around so we have some privacy. So I'm going to invite you, if after I explain what's going on, feel free to turn off your camera so you have some privacy, or you can leave your camera on. And my sisters who are all sitting together, you can turn around so you don't have to face each other in this part if you want. But so basically we're going to activate our pleasure. We're going to activate our pleasure in a very innocent way. So it is our birthright to have pleasure. Like I said before, pleasure is the key to our radiance, and radiance is the key to our manifestation. It's what creates us, what makes us magnetic. So we want to make sure we can liberate our pleasure. And so you can go ahead and turn off your camera for this exercise if you want, or leave it on. And you could do so now. I'm going to leave mine on and I'm going to boldly demonstrate. So basically, we're gonna close our eyes and we're gonna softly move our hips. Like go ahead and just kind of like we're stirring a pot with our hips. We want to do it slowly and gently and sensually. And this isn't about being sexy. This is about feeling pleasure. This is about moving in a way that feels good, not just a way that looks good. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a few deep breaths, and maybe we're going to move our spine a little bit. We're going to move our spine kind of like a snake, just a little bit, slowly and sweetly. And as we do this, we're going to focus on our womb space. And we're going to come to a stop, and we're going to tilt our pelvis back and forth in a really slow, rhythmic way, in a way that feels good. It doesn't have to be big. It's just a very small, subtle movement. We're going to place our hands on our womb space, on our power center. This is the place where our creative ideas are born, where sexual energy is generated, and we're going to envision and imagine that there's a dollop of honey right at the bottom of our pelvic bone. So every time we move our pelvis really slowly back and forth, we're melting the honey. We're melting the honey, and this honey is beginning to move back and forth within the womb space. And go ahead and just move however feels good, feeling this honey that you're sliding up and down with, honey that's coating your insides. And begin to start to feel pleasure. You may even use your fingertips real lightly to touch your legs gently or your arms. Go ahead and just do whatever in this gentle movement feels nourishing for you. And I know it can be an interesting experience to do this on call, but do your best to be surrendered and peaceful and find something that feels good for you. And if the rocking doesn't feel good, simply touch yourself gently with your fingertips. Breathing in, breathing out. And then you can begin, if you want to, you can begin to move in a sensual way. You can move your hips, you can move your arms. We're going to be breathing. We want to breathe this energy that we're cultivating in the womb space. We want to breathe it up, 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 up into the heart. So we want to move our energy from the womb space like a snake up into the heart. So whatever feels good for you, go ahead and move this energy. And I like to imagine this energy, this sensual creative life force, again, like honey, allowing this honey to just move up through your womb space, up through your sacral, and up through your solar plexus into the heart. And then just feel honey softening your heart, softening your shoulders. Warm, liquid honey, liquid light. And when you feel you've generated a little bit of pleasure, go ahead and come to a stop. Take a deep breath and move the energy into your heart. And with circular breathing, move the energy in and then out, back towards the womb up through the heart, through the crown, back towards the womb. So just breathing gently, moving this energy into your heart. And bringing to mind your intention. And saying your affirmation, your intention out loud 3 times. Or in your mind 3 times. But go ahead and
manifesting.
Go ahead and create this intention. Go ahead, using this energy to bring this intention to life, birthing this intention. It's almost as if you're falling in love with this affirmation. It's almost as if you are activating your sensual, creative energy to fall in love with this intention, this dream of yours. And the act of falling in love with it and being with it right now helps bring it to life. So allow pleasure and joy and radiance to overcome you right now. And if you feel blocked, be gentle with yourself. It's okay. It's okay. It's still working. You're still making progress. And so go ahead, place your hands on your heart one more time, and affirm that your intention has already been brought to life. It's already been created. It's already happening. And carry this intention with you forward into your month. And every time you think about it, ignite the pleasure around it. Fuel it with your life force. Fuel this intention with your pleasure and joy and excitement. And with that, we can gently rejoin, opening our eyes. I'm curious what happened. I have done this exercise multiple times, and I've done it in different settings, and there's been times where I'm like, I'm so blocked. I don't have any joy or pleasure doing this right now. In fact, it's torture. I've experienced that, and I've also experienced feeling an opening inside of myself, an opening to fall in love with that which I really want to bring to life. And that passion and that joy is what ignites it. It's what manifests it. So curious about how that was for you. Who wants to share anything about that? And if you don't want to share about this exercise, that's fine. You can share anything that has come up for you on this call at all. We have time for a few of us to share before we end the call. So I really encourage you to bring your voice out here. Even if you don't know what you're going to say, go ahead and just use your voice and speak. So who's going to be? Heather, hey.
So that was with two other sisters as well as several that couldn't be here in body tonight, but we were holding them in spirit earlier before we signed on to the call. And something that we were talking about was the way smell can be nostalgic. And right before we entered this chapter of the circle, we lit an incense. And I just feel as I worked through that sensual exercise, I ended up like running my fingers through my hair and realizing how something so simple and kind of discreet, even like you can do that at any moment, just brought this grace and then the smell of the incense in this space into my memory. And I just feel like all of the experiences I'm holding with the circles through your guidance, but then also with the women in my own community that are creating this like collective memory that I'll be able to test over and over again with something as simple as just
That's great insight. Yeah. It helps you activate your power, to feel beautiful, and it just helps activate your power in something so simple. Thank you for that share. All right, who's next? Irene.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
So I joined this call tonight thinking it was really interesting, and I wasn't really expecting to have like a lot come up. I had in my mind that I didn't really have like any really intense sexual trauma or anything. And when we were actually doing the exercise before, like the first exercise, I wrote something that just like came to my mind but didn't really bother me that much. And then when we were getting to the forgiveness part, where it's like, I forgive you for, and then all these other experiences that had happened to me like resurfaced, and I was like, wow, like I kind of forgot about X, Y, and Z experiences. And you just go through life carrying so much stuff with you, to the point where like it almost becomes normal, like background noise, that I kind of forgot that these experiences still needed attention from me, like intentional healing. And so even though I didn't feel, and then now when we were doing this exercise, I felt like all that pleasure and all those sensations like stayed in my womb area. I couldn't bring it up to my heart because I just felt so much guilt for feeling pleasure. So in a way, I don't feel like I released a lot tonight, but it did bring back to my conscious awareness that this is still something that I need to work on. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yes, that is a beautiful share. Something that I've been there. I know exactly what that feels like. And it takes dedication, and it takes persistence, and it takes self-practice, And so I'm really happy that happened. That's great.
Thank you.
Who's next? I love the shares. They're so wonderful. If you don't have your camera on, you can click at the bottom. There's participants. You click on participants, and then you can find your name, and you can say raise hand. So hoping to see who's next. All right. I know it's scary. Oh, Jessica, yay. Okay, Jessica. You can unmute yourself. There you go.
Well, I'm actually feeling quite joyful after that big teary outburst. But I wanted to say that my word for the year is actually nectar. I work with a word every year, and it was nectar. So all the bee and the honey and the sweetness was really powerful to connect to. And I think that's just what I want to keep doing, is just to keep attracting, keep being accessible to women, keep promoting my circles, keep putting myself out there. And I know when the timing is right for someone else, when they feel the call, I'll be sitting there waiting, ready.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a really good night. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for sharing and being here. Snow, you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, Snow?
Okay. Yeah. I've been focusing quite a lot lately on healing my sexuality, particularly in my partnership. And so I really enjoyed the series of physical and sensual movements you took us through. It was a great reminder of me of just some simple, powerful ways to connect with my sensuality. And so that was delightful. And around the intention setting, I wrote down that I am so ready to step into my sensual, free, uninhibited, pleasure-loving sexual being. And yeah, it just somehow you help to open up a reminder about that any old ideas about that being uncomfortable or difficult or hard to do, it's just an idea. And how about this new idea that it's easy and it's fun, and why wouldn't I give that pleasure to myself?
Yes, what a great revelation. Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you.
I love that you were saying your affirmation as he walked by. That was awesome.
What a coincidence.
Perfect. It's all happening. It's all in flow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Irene, we'll unmute you so your friend can share.
Okay, I'm putting Shannon on speakerphone now. So Shannon, you may
Hi,
go.
can everyone hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
She can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, I wasn't able to see anything, or Irene sent me a couple shots, so I knew what was going on. But that was rough for me. I knew how bad I had a very, very, very traumatic. So I experience, and I wasn't able to touch that I'm not ready for, but there was something that happened later that wasn't quite as traumatic, so I was able to work on that and do my the assignment with that. And I just really, there's just so much healing and working that I have to do, but I felt I did feel a little release, and especially with the sexuality. I have such a problem with that, and with the trauma, and shame and pain and all sorts of things that just block me. And so when you're doing that exercise, it was hard for me, and I wasn't really able to do it, and it just felt very blocked, and I had to stop. But I feel like I'm on the path of healing and getting better, and I would love to do more. And it just feels really good that there is this out here, that people are here to work with, problems like this. And so I'm just excited for doing more work, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much for that beautiful share. Thank you. I hear you and I feel you, and I'm so we here collectively are supporting you on that journey, and I can relate to your journey very much. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And don't get discouraged about being blocked. It's working. It's definitely working. Keep going. I still see some beautiful faces that we haven't heard from. So I really am hoping some of these faces that I'm seeing might want to share before we close. Yeah? Some? Any? One more? One last woman to share? Neva. Go ahead and mute yourself, Neva. Oh.
Did that not work?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So I've been working a really long time to forgive someone from my childhood, and I'm almost 60 now. So when I hear the other women talking about working on and not feeling like and knowing that they need to work on things, I can say the same thing because I've been working on it for a really long time. And I think that I reached that point of forgiveness and everything, and then something happens, and then I'm right back to the beginning. So I really appreciate that you're doing this, because I think that there are a lot of us like that out there, and that we're struggling, that we're trying to of something that was so traumatic to us, and it's a process, and I'm still in it. Every time I think I'm not, I'm right back there. So anyway, that's kind of what happened today. And when you started talking, I felt really heaviness in my heart, and it was like, oh no, I thought that was gone, and then it's back. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. The journey of being alive and unfolding and purifying and blossoming it can be painful. And this season, this season of going deeper and seeing what's still there in those deep waters, to let go a little bit more. Thank you, Neva. So we are ending the near end of our call. We're nearing the end of our call, and I have a poem to read. We have women who lead circles all over the world, and we have a product and program called Her Circle. And Her Circle is an amazing resource for leading circles. It gives you everything you need. And there's a poem in this month's resource that I feel very inspired to read. And so to close, I'm going to read you this. My sexual power does not lie simply in my curves, my mind, my heart, nor even my womb. My sexual power lies deeply in the heart of the divine, which lives fully awake in every pore and cell of my body. Sacred is a word that only scratches the surface of this limitless, boundless love that I have for my power as a woman. My pleasure has been feared, for it is the most potent force in the cosmos. My feminine power has been suppressed, for it has the potential to create and to destroy. Yet I am here, fierce, embodied, and sensual, in devotion to the creative force that throbs within me and in all life. Here and now, I reclaim. My sexuality holds the power of creation, and I wield it in love. Let this holy fire burn through me, awakening my body like a singing choir. This is my pleasure. This is my power, and I use it to heal the world. And with that, let's Close our eyes one last time. And sending so much appreciation and love for the space that we all held for each other tonight to do this deep work that's so important. Thank you to each one of you for being here. So nice to sit in circle with you. Remembering our field of wildflowers where we all sit in circle together. Let's go ahead and imagine ourselves blowing out the candle to end our circle tonight. And with that, Shayna, will you take everybody off mute so we can all say goodbye to each other at the same time?
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Happy New Moon.
Bye-bye.
Happy New
Lots of love.
Moon. Happy New Moon, everyone. Pleasure. Bye-bye.